Hello, my friends. How are you today? Hope you guys are having a great day so far. I missed you guys. Absolutely missed you guys last week. But I will tell you this, you guys know how to make a girl feel special for her birthday. That is for sure. Got lots of birthday wishes, got lots of surprises in the mail. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And like one of the things I'm wearing today was a birthday surprise. It is from Brenda Ashley. These are actually bead crochet. Love them. Judy Reddix says, hey, Kelly, I had my 7th grandbaby last Monday. That's amazing, Judy. Congrats. I love it. Love it, love it. Hello, everybody who's jumping in. So we're going to give it just a few minutes to let other people get logged on so we can get started on today's project. Jenny Beverly says today is my birthday. Hello, Jenny, and happy birthday to you. I hope you have a really, really good one today. Oh, don't know how you guys were, but this weekend, let's see, what did I do this? Oh, I did a cooking class. I did an online cooking class this weekend. So I learned just like you guys are learning with your beading. I learned how to make macarons. So that was really interesting. My first batch was a complete flop, but the second batch I made on Sunday turned out wonderfully. I had to do something to get my mind off because our governor just extended our stay at home until May the 8th. So what do? We learn new things and we get on with life and we take this time to learn. Pat says that her 68th birthday was on Friday. So happy birthday. How did I get my cute haircut? I cut it myself. It's amazing what a pair of clippers will do. Oh, let's see. Leanne Darnell says, we are here June the 10th. Wow. Leanne, are you in Florida? Like, where are you at, Leanne? Kim, oh, Virginia. Okay. Kim says, happy birthday. Me and my granddaughter's birthday are in the same month as well. That's awesome. Okay. So let's talk about a couple of things. Let me see what time it is here. We got 2 more minutes before we'll get started. So first of all, today we are going to be doing a project out of my book, Step by Step Herringbone. This is the project on page 43, which is the Herringbone Burst Pendant. It's the one on the front of the book. Now, for those of you who did not get one of the books, I actually have a digital pattern ready to go for this. Excuse me. It's on my website, offthebeadedpath.beadstore.com. Excuse me. And I have actually already put the link here in the chat section. So if you will go all the way up to the top of the chat, it's in that section. It's also a comment listed on the video. It will take you a direct link. So I've got a couple of questions. Can you use twins beads instead of super duo beads? So for those of you who do not know, twin beads came out first and then super duo beads. Honestly, I've never tried this project with twin beads, so the worst you could do, try it and see. Honestly, try it and see if they will work. Also, can you use a cab instead of a Rivoli? I don't see why you could not use a cabochon as long as it's a 14 millimeter, so that way it will be the same size as what we are doing for the project today. Also, I've had some questions about alternatives to 3 millimeter Bicones. Can you use a 3 millimeter Bicone? Can I use a 3 millimeter fire polish? What can I use? So for what I would say is instead of using a 3 millimeter Bicone, I would substitute a size 8 seed bead. So if you do not have 3 millimeter Bicones, use a size 8 seed bead in its place. It's not going to give you that sparkly wow factor between your super duos, but if you don't have them, they are going to work better than a 3 millimeter fire polish beads. The fire polish beads are going to make your piece really wavy, and that's what you don't want, okay? I have purposely not sat down and done this project this weekend or last week because I wanted to be fresh on it, just like you guys would be on it if you have never done this project. If you do not have the book and you do not have the money to buy the pattern, no worries. I'm going to go step by step. So for going step by step through the entire pattern, this project's probably going to last a little bit longer than most of my videos. We're probably looking at an hour and a half to 2 hours. The good thing is, if you can't stay the whole time, and you want to do this, you want to make sure, or I should say that when we upload the video, what's going to happen is after the live is done, this will upload to YouTube, and then once it's uploaded, you can come back and watch it again. So if you can't finish the project or you want to see about the project, we will be able to do that at the end of this. Laura Williams says, I have used 3mm rondelles for the 3mm Swarovskis in the past. Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, so I want to go over a couple of things really quick. So we went over about the book. I will go over the colors that I'm using when we actually start today. The bracelet that I have on, because I know I'm going to get asked this question, the bracelet I have on today is called the Four Corners bracelet. This is by Deb Roberti. You can find this at aroundthebeadingtable.com. And again, I have the link already in the chat. So if you swipe up all the way to the chat, you can find it there. I also have it in the comment section of this video, and it will go straight into that link. Also, the rings I have on are all patterns on my website except for this one. This is a ring I'm going to teach you how to do in tomorrow's bead therapy. Okay, so you won't find this one, but you'll find this one and this one in the free section of my website under step-by-step tutorials. The bead mat that I'm using today is going to be a bead on it board. It was gifted to me by Potomac Beads, so thank you, Potomac Beads. I really appreciate it. And if you want one of these bead on it boards, you can check out potomacbeads.com. Okay, and I think that kind of covers the things that I had to talk about. I want to kind of give you an update on what we're going to do this week. So, of course, today we're doing the Herringbone Burst Pendant. Tomorrow, again, I'm going to be showing you this brick diamond ring. So basically, I'm going to be teaching you how to do a peyote stitch band, which hopefully most of you who've been watching know. But then I'm also going to teach you how to brick stitch off of the band, off the top and the bottom, to make a fun ring out of it. So that's coming up tomorrow. That is going to be a free pattern, again, on my website. On Wednesday, we are going to be doing the Dazzling Duo bracelet or anklet. Okay, this is what it looks like. Let me zoom in on it here. This is what you'll need for that project on Wednesday. Right there. Okay, this pattern is for sale on my website, offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. Again, you don't have to have the pattern because I'm going to walk with you step by step through the project. But if you want a written pattern, there you go, offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. So that's coming up Wednesday. So that's going to be April 29th. April 30th is going to be the Diamond Duo ring. This is what you're going to need to make it. Okay, so Diamond Duo ring, again, this is a free pattern on my website, offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. Or no, sorry, not a free one. This is for sale on my website under the ring pattern. Sorry about that. And finally, on Friday, which will be May the 1st, we're going to be doing the Duo Devotee earrings. This is what they look like. They're really, really fun. And this is what you need right here. Okay. So that's what you need as well. So that is what I'm going to do this week. And I'm going to try to be answering some of the questions that people have emailed in over the last couple of weeks. So that way you'll have that as well. I have posted a link at the very top of the chat and in the comment section of the video for our Facebook group. If you want a more clear picture or you want to see these materials list again, you can always go to our Facebook group. And again, I put the link there for you in the comment section and at the very top of the chat section, direct link click that takes you to our Facebook group. Otherwise, you can just hit the pause button and write down the list of what you're going to need. So I guess we're going to get started. I did want to thank you all. My friend told me she got quite a few orders for her little Bibby bead bags. Let me see here. There we go. So these are actually needle carriers. I love mine. When you close it, it kind of goes right up for you, and this is big enough that your needles don't poke out of the side, so it's really, really fun. She also makes some really fun travel bags, so that again is for the BB bead bags. So we're going to get started. Let me move my camera around. I tell you, while I'm moving it around, I had to go hunting over the weekend for a new clip extension for the phone, because Friday after the video, I dropped the little extension and it busted into a million pieces. So I was so afraid we weren't going to get to do the video so great today, but we got it taken care of. So again, while we're waiting, just for a second, here is some info again on my bead board I'm using and all of that kind of good stuff. So that way, hopefully, it will answer any questions that you have before we get started. Okay. So here are some samples of what I did today, or pendants for the project. Now, the thing is, I had a lot of people tell me, oh, I'm having such a hard time, figuring out my colors. Go with the colors that you go to very first thing. So like if your eye catches a color, go with that color. Don't make this hard, because no matter what colors you pick up, these are all going to turn out wonderfully. Everybody's colors is going to be so much fun, and it's going to look really, really pretty. Okay, so I'll tell you what I'm going to do today, because the pattern itself, and I'll show you the pattern, but the pattern itself shows you how to put this teardrop. The person I'm going to make this for doesn't actually like teardrops, so I'm going to leave the teardrop part off, but I will show you that so you will know. Lois said, today 86. Ooh, must be nice where you are today. I love it. Or does that mean you're 86 today, Lois? So there we go. This is what we're making today. Let's go ahead and pull out your book or your pattern if you have it. The printed pattern may be just a little bit different than the book, but you should be good to go. So this is what we need here. This is our materials list. And we're going to be starting off basically a ladder stitch. So thread a needle onto one end of your fire line. I'm going to be using a 6-pound fire line today. You could also use an 8-pound fire line. It may just get kind of tight in the center if you use 8-pound. We are going to thread on an 11 and an 8. Let these beads fall, leaving a short tail go back through just the 11. And I'm going to do this with you. I'm just reading this out first. Make the 8-0 sit next to the 11-0. At any time the tail starts to get into your way, feel free to tie the thread off with a couple of half-hitch knots and trim. So we have our beads here. Then we're going to go down through the 8-0. And then pick up an 8-0 and go back down through the 8-0 you are currently exiting to make a circle. The new 8-0 will sit next to the previous 8-0. So here's my colors I'm going to be using today. And again, my board I'm using today is a Bead On It board from Potomac Beads. The 8-0 I'm going to be using today is a semi-glazed olive. And the 11 I'm going to use today is a perma-finished matte galvanized old gold. Do you sell the tool holder shown on your mat? Tool holder. Okay. I'm assuming tool holder, you mean this or this. I don't sell either of these. This is actually a lipstick holder that a friend gave me that she purchased on Amazon, and she didn't like it. And this, another friend gave that one to me. She was getting rid of them. So, will you get more books? No, I am so sorry, Sharon, but we will not be getting any more books. These are books that we've had for 5 years now, so it'll just be instant download, but we also will sell printed copies of the pattern. So if you need to purchase a printed copy, we're happy to take care of that for you. Both of the beads I'm using today are Toho beads. All right, so your 8s and 11s are going to be used 8s, 11s, and 15s are all going to be used here in the center of your piece. So here, this kind of red peachy color are my 8s. This kind of color here are my 11s, and then my 15s. Okay, so on this one, these matte purples are my 8s, the greens are my 11s, and the 15s are here in the center. So I'm going to thread on. The pattern calls for 3 yards of thread. Use what you are comfortable with using. Okay, so I am threading on, per the pattern, 111 and 1/8. Again, 3 yards of fire line, guys. So an 8 and an 11, I'm going to pull the thread. I'm using all 3 yards. If you don't feel comfortable with 3 yards, that is good. Okay, so I have my 8 and my 11. I have only about a 3 to 4 inch tail, not much. Okay, then I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to come up through the 11, just the 11. Katarina. Oh, Lord. All right, now I'm going to, and okay, so, and here's another thing. If you don't know what 3 yards is, basically from your fingertip, hold out your arm, from your fingertip to the middle of your nose is about 1 yard. I always do a complete arm span and then half of another one. Okay, now step 2 says go down through the 8, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going right down through the size 8 seed bead. Okay, step 3 says pick up 1/8, so I've got 1/8 here. Go back down through the 8. You are currently exiting to make a circle. So I've got my 8. My thread is coming out of the bottom of the 8 here. So I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to come down through the 8 I already have to make a circle. You guys, I think sweet Katarina actually knows. I think she was just joking with us. Okay, then we are going to go up through the 8 we just added. Okay, so right now you should have an 11 and 2 8s. And if you are not keeping up with me, it's okay. Like I said, the video will be here, and you, so you'll be able to go back to it. So don't worry. Okay, so we just did number 4. Go through the 8/0 just added. Number 5 says pick up 111, go back up through the 8/0 you are currently exiting to make a circle. The new 11/0 will sit next to the previous 8/0. So this is what we're going to do, and when we get it, this is what it'll look like. Okay, so I'm here. My thread is coming out of the bottom. Or nope, let's see. Let's flip it the right way. Okay, my thread is coming out of the top. I'm going to pick up 111. Thread's coming out of the top. I'm going to come right back around to make a circle. Okay, so thread was coming out of the top here, and I'm just coming right back up through the same bead. Okay, now take your needle and go down through the 11/0 that you just added. Tanya Stevens says, can you use a Delica seed bead? I don't suggest it. Not for this project. Your regular 11s are going to work better. So at this point, this is what you should have. So number 7 now says, fold the piece together so that the 11/0s are touching each other. Go up through the first 11/0. This will connect the 2 11s at the bottom. All right, so we're going to do that. We're going to fold the piece together so that the 11s are touching each other. We're going to, here's my tail thread and my working thread. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go up through this bead here on the left, this is my, okay, can you use Miyuki? You can use Miyuki. The encasement might be a little bit tighter, but you can use Miyuki. Okay, number 9 says go down through the last 11O. This will connect the 2 11s at the top. Okay, so now I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to come down through this 11. And again, guys, if you're not keeping up with me, it's completely fine. This will be on here so that you guys can see it, so it's completely fine. Okay, so number 10 now says go up through the first 11 once more. This gets you into position to start the herringbone stitch. So as of right now, if you tip your piece over on the side, you should have your 8s and your 11s, just like is pictured here in number 10. So 8s and 11s. So now we're going to start actually doing herringbone stitch. So we're going to pick up 2 11s and go down through the 11O right next to where your thread is exiting. Your beads will not sit straight up and down, but diagonal. Do not try to correct this because they are exactly how they are supposed to be. So don't look at this picture. This is a mistake. The guy who published the book put the wrong picture there. So don't look at that one. You want to look at this one right here. Okay? So we are coming out of 111 and we're going to pick up 2 11s and go down through the next one. So I've got to come up through my 11 here. And I'll know I'm back to the start because, my tail thread and my working thread will be coming out of the same bead. Okay, so I'm going to hold my piece like this for now. I'm going to pick up 2 11s, and I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to come down through the 11O right next to the one that I'm coming out of. Okay, so I'm coming out of the one on the left, and I'm going to go down through the one on the right. And I'm going to pull this through, and you see that they're going to sit wonky or diagonal to each other. They're not going to sit straight up and down like these first two, and that's completely fine. Now, we're going to turn it just a little bit here, and we want to take our needle and go up through the next 8 in our little circle here. And this is step number 12 on the pattern. Go up through the 8O right next to where your thread is exiting. So now I'm just going to turn my piece so that I'm looking at the 8s. Number 13 says pick up 2 11s. 2 8s and go down through the 8O right next to where your thread is exiting. So my thread is coming out of this 8O here on the left. I'm going to come down through the 8O on the right. Miss Elizabeth, you should be okay. All right, so I have a stack of 2 8s and a stack of 2 11s. Now, we have to do a step up, okay? So I'm coming out, and let me kind of turn it here. When I turn it here to the side, you can see I'm coming out of this stack of 8s. I now need to take my needle, and instead of going through just the top 11, I need to go through 2 11s. So I'm going through the bottom of 11 and the one right above it. So this is the stack where my tail thread is coming out of. This is the step up. Ow, ow, ow. Okay. So again, I'm back around. So my tail thread and my working thread should be coming out of the same stack. Okay. All right, let's see. So this was step number 14. Go up through the 2 11s right next to where the thread is exiting. This is called your step up. All right, number 15, pick up 2 11s and go down through the 11 right next to where your thread is exiting. Just go through the top 11. So you see here, I'm picking up 2 11s and I'm only going through the top 11. I'm not going through that stack. So I've got my beads here. I'm going to pick up 2 11s. And I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go down through that very next 11 right there. Just the top one. I'm not going through the lower one. Now, number 16 says go up through the 8-0 right next to where your thread is exiting. Okay, so it's going to be this 8-0 right here. Going through the top one, not going through the bottom one, just the top one. And if you're not getting it, I promise you will, because we have to do 26 rows of this, okay? So I'm coming out of my 8. I'm going to pick up 2 8s, and I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go down through the very next 8. Remember, I'm only going through the top 8, not going through the stack. Pull this through. Okay. Now I'm going to turn, and this is where I'm going to do my step up. So let me find this. Let's see. All right, so this is going to be step 18. You are now ready to step up. Step up by going up through the top 2 11s of the next stack, or in the next stack. So 2 11s, so the top 2 here. And then it says repeat steps 15 through 18 until you have 26 rows. We currently have 3 rows. As you work the 8-0s, the 8-0s will rise above the 11-0s, and this is fine. It's exactly how it should be. So again, to do the step up, I'm coming out of my 8s. I've just added my 2 8s, coming out, and I'm going to come to the stack of 11s, and I'm going to go through the top 2. So I'm going to go through those 2 right there. So I'm skipping the very bottom one, and I'm going through the top 2. Hello to everyone just joining us. Okay. Oh, Siri's talking to me. No, Siri, I've got it. Thank you. Okay. So now I have 2 11s. I am going to come down through the top 11 of my next stack. Clarice says, I'm going to watch you show how easy it is to make this pendant so I can work up a good panic level before trying to do it on my own while watching the replay. Honey, it's going to be completely fine. You have got this. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to come through the next 8. The only time we do that step up is when we get to the stack of 11s where our tail thread is at. Should we have a tight tension? I wouldn't have a super loose tension. The looser the encasement is, Charlotte, the harder it's going to be to get your Rivoli to stay in. Catherine, hey girl. All right, so I have 2 8s, and I'm going to come down this top 8 of my very next stack. Okay, now I'm going to turn it. This is where we do our step up. Okay, so I have to go up through 2 beads of that first stack because I'm back to where that little tail thread is there. Okay, Sharon says, my beads aren't laying right, so I'm lost at which bead to go through. Sharon, what I would probably do then is I would probably go ahead and start over if your beads aren't laying right. You may want to sit and watch me do just a couple more rows so that you can see how I am building the stack. Okay, so, and guys, it's completely okay. Like I said, you've got the replay that you can watch on this to do this if you have to stop or you get lost or anything like that. Okay, so I've got my 2 11s and I'm coming down through the next 11. Okay, one thing is to pull straight down, pull your thread straight down like this. If you pull it out, you see what it does there? You see how it messes it up? So pull it straight down. Okay, Tanya, Tanya Stevens, I'm gonna have to hide your comment actually. I think autocorrect put in a word that YouTube is saying can't be used. So, okay. So I'm coming out here. I'm gonna come up through the next 8. And again, when I hold my beads, I'm holding the stack and I pull the thread, I'm pulling the thread straight up out of the stack. Okay. Again, if you pull it, whoop, what did I do here? Oh, I got a thread caught. There we go. If you pull it any which way, it's not going to work out right. And again, if you are having, Angelina says, you've got this, working with a lot of thread can do that to us. All is good. And again, guys, if 3 yards is too much for you to start with, please, please, please start with what you find most comfortable. So I've got 2 8s. I'm going to come down through the very next 8. And again, I'm holding that bead in place as I pull the thread straight down. And they lay just like this. I'm to the stack where my tail thread is at, so I know that I've got to do my step up. So this is where we go through the top 2 11s. We do the step up every single time around. So I'm coming out of an 11. I'm picking up 2 11s. And I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to come right down through the next 11. And again, holding my stack in place, pulling the thread straight down. All right. Now I'm going to go through the next 8, that top 8. And as you work, you'll start to see your threads. You see how, Tanya, I don't know. It just popped up and told me there was a vulgar word. So, okay. So you can see here, my thread is coming at a diagonal like this. And that's completely fine because we're wanting to make a circle. So it's fine that they're starting to run at a diagonal. Okay, so now I'm going to pick up 2 8s. I'm going to come down through the very next 8 here. Again, holding this, pulling the thread straight down. No, Tanya, honey, it's completely okay. YouTube does its own thing sometimes. Okay, I'm here to where the little tail thread is. So I'm going to I know that this is where I've got to do my step up. So I'm coming through the top 2 beads of that stack. Oh, sorry, Yvonne. Don't worry, sweetie. Like I said, all of these videos, once they are completely done, will be uploaded to YouTube and you can watch the replay. So it's completely fine. I don't take these off YouTube. So I've got 2 11s. Again, I'm going to come down through the very next 11. I'm going to hold those beads in place and pull the thread straight down. I'm going to come up through the next 8. I'm coming out of 8, so I'm going to pick up 2 8s. And I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to come down through the very next 8. Okay. And you see here, I have a little knot. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to separate my 2 pieces of thread here. This is why I do not like working with fire line. And I'm just going to pull that knot out. Some people love it. I am not one of those people. Okay. Shirley Moore says, haha, mine's starting to look like a little snail. And that's absolutely what you want, Shirley. You want this piece as we work. It's going to really start curling up and it's okay. All right, so now I'm going to go up through the 2 11s. I know I'm to my step up because right there is my tail. Okay, so far, when you count it, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 7 rows so far. And it says to repeat rows, or repeat steps 15 to 18 until we have 26 rows. So I'm just going to keep stitching until I have 26 rows. Okay, Nancy Giggy, are those delicas? No, these are Tohos. And what type of thread do you use? I mostly like to use 1G or Dura thread or KO thread. Everybody has their own threads that they kind of like. Those are just the threads that I love. Okay, and again, I'm back to that little step up there because there's my tail thread. Oh, Jonah G says, or Jonah G says, is this an expensive hobby? Ooh, I don't think you want an answer to that. I think this hobby can be as expensive as you let it be, honestly. Amy, thank you for asking. My birthday was wonderful. I did nothing except for bead all day long, and I only beaded projects that I wanted to work on. So, like personal projects that I had of kits that I wanted to work on. And I wanted to thank each of you who actually sent me a gift. I hope that some of you have started receiving your thank you notes. I tried to make sure to send a thank you note to each of those who sent me something. Yeah, Jason Casper, that's right. He said, depends on how much self-control you have. Oh. Gail, I used to say it was cheaper than a psychiatrist. Now I'm not so sure anymore. Oh, girl, I don't know. I think it would take a lot of therapy for me, a whole lot of therapy. So I'm still on this is beading is my therapy. Oh. Okay, and you can see I'm just taking my time. I'm not rushing through this. You really want this to work out well. This is what's going to hold your Rivoli in place. So take your time with the project. So you can see now how mine's looking. If you pull fire line through your fingers after you thread your needles, it will take some of the curl out. Yes, yes. I'm thinking, you are the therapist. Well, thank you guys. That's the whole reason I tried to do these little videos. I never imagined that we would be on like week 6 at this point of these videos, week 6 or week 7. But, you know, it is what it is. Okay, somebody says, why did you choose Fireline for this project if you prefer other threads? Honestly, this with this project, I knew that most people were going to be using Fireline. So that's why I use the fire line. It kind of helps hold the super duos a little bit better. You want your super duos, this outer part when we get ready to do it, you want it kind of stiff and kind of to hold its form, and this fire line kind of helps it to do that. The 1G and the KO thread would do the same thing. It's just you have to have a really nice tight tension to do it with 1G or KO thread, and a lot of people don't use a super tight tension. If using my Yuki seed beads, do you need to add a few more rows? I don't think so, Debbie. When I designed this project, I designed it exclusively for Toho brand beads. I think my Yukis, I think you'll be fine. I'm going to show you actually when I get around how to kind of test it to see. But I think whether you're using my Yukis or you're using Toho beads, you're going to have the same counts. So I think you'll be fine. Okay, so you can see mine's starting to kind of, if I pull it out straight, it will go straight, but I want it to curl so you can kind of see how it is. And right now, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I have 14 rows so far. No, actually, I find that KO and 1G are relatively the same. I know some people, will have different opinions to that, but for me personally, I don't feel much difference between the two products. But again, that's my opinion. And well, Jonah, what amount would you need to get started? Again, I think your best thing is you need to pick out a project. And just kind of purchase materials for that specific project and try a project to see if you're going to like it before you invest a ton of money into it. And, you can purchase anywhere you'd like. Definitely support your local bead store if you have one. If not, I'd love it if you could support me at offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. Yep, that's a good, Miss Elizabeth says, or buy a kit. Absolutely, because kits have, most kits that you purchase have everything that you need in them to do the project with. So, all right, so you can see that my 8s look like they're about 1 bead higher than the 11s, and that's fine. That's exactly what you're supposed to have. So as you're working around, if you feel like, something's going wrong, that you're doing nothing wrong. It's exactly how it's supposed to be. Okay. Just remember, each time you get to your tail thread down here, that's the stack you're going to do that step up on. Do you have delicas? Yes, we do. We actually just got another order of delicas in on Friday. My mother-in-law, Patty, took them home and packaged them all up for you guys over the weekend. She wanted to make sure everybody got what they were supposed to. So, Does this work with a big eye needle? Yes, absolutely. Okay, so Lois did reply, and she said that actually today is her 86th birthday. So happy birthday, Lois. That's awesome. Whoops. I always think about my sweet little grandma, my grandma Dalton, this week every year because her whole life she celebrated her birthday on April the 30th, her whole entire life. And when she retired and applied for her Social Security, she found out that no, her birthday was actually on April the 29th. So I always think about her on this week. Ugh. Okay, so now I have a hot mess. There we go. Okay, should you get a hot mess like I just did, you can see here it totally kind of threw everything off kilter and off whack. Make sure to remember, even if it pulls everything apart, to pull straight down. Even if you kind of have to hold these two beads and pull the thread straight down, so that way it tightens everything back up there. Okay, so now go. I am so glad all of you guys are on today and that we're getting to chat together again. I missed this last week, but you guys kept us busy last week with shipping, man. We did a lot of shipping last week. Gail, did Grayson and Sammy like the maple candy? Yes, they did, Gail. Grayson, it was funny though, he put it in his mouth and at first he was like, I like it. And then it was like he sucked on it for a minute or two longer and he's like, nah, I don't like it. So that kid, you just honestly never know with him. I see the stone you're using. Can I see the stone? Oh, yeah. So Tanya, here's the stone. It's a 14 millimeter Rivoli. It has a point back and a point top to it. Okay, so again, I'm going to count my rows here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I've got 21 rows so far, and I need 26. So I'm going to keep on going for a few more rows. Is this the step up side where the tail is a larger slip opening? Okay. The step up is the side where our tail thread is coming out of that stack of 11s. This is the side, the stack where you do your step up. Okay, Laura is asking about my bracelet. Nope, Laura, sorry. This is someone else's design. If you look in the comment section on this video, like if you actually look at the comments or you scroll all the way up to the chat box, I give you a link to where you can purchase the pattern for this bracelet. It's by Deborah Birdie from aroundthebeadingtable.com. Yes, transition is a step up between the 8-0 and the 11-0. Yes, it's another really good way to see it. So I just added my 2 8s here. So I know I'm at my step up because now I'm going from 8s to 11s, but also I'm going up through the stack that has that tail thread in it. That's why I don't get rid of the tail thread yet, because if you have never done this one before or you are just starting to do it, it helps you to always know where your step up is. Oh, good grief. I'm gonna have to pull my thread here for a moment. You've got 28 rows. Ooh, Judy, you're gonna have to pull back on that, honey. Them 28 rows will get you a little bit too far. Gina, I actually showed them at the beginning, and I just showed them again a few minutes ago. So I'm going to try to get a couple more steps done, and then I'll be happy to show examples again. Ooh, Judy says, Sparm says, doing the rip out stitch. Hey, Judy, don't feel bad about that. Some of us get really good at that rip out stitch. All right, so I think I'm going to have 25 rows, but I'm going to go do this one more time. Do I sell this project in a kit? No, I do not. We actually sold out of this last week as a kit. If you'd like to call my store, I'll be happy to help you pull out beads or pick out beads for a project, but we don't have any kits for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay, so I got to do one more row. I need 26 rows. And you can see I only have 2 8s left here. I tried to go ahead and actually lay out as many beads as I would need. So that way I wouldn't have to keep... How do I manage homeschooling, your store, videos, and other designers' patterns? It's a delicate balance, Katerina. Okay, friends, I have 26 rows now. So I want to show you, if you set your Rivoli in there, your piece, like if I set it down in here, well, let me get it stuck in here right. They should almost touch like this, okay? So with the Rivoli in there, your ends should almost touch like this. If they don't almost touch, then if you're using my Yuki, you could add just a couple of more rows, but I don't suggest it. Okay, so now here comes a little bit of a hard part. It's not hard, it just can seem hard. So I'm going to read the steps to it, and then we are going to continue. So it says, after the 26th row, you are now ready to connect the 2 sides together. Yes, the Rivoli will be in the ditch. After the 26th row, you are now ready to connect the 2 sides together to make a complete circle. Take the needle and go straight through the 11 right across from where your thread is exiting. So here, I'm coming out of this 11, and I'm taking my needle and I'm going through the 11 straight across. Now it says, go through the 11 right next to where your thread is exiting, going back towards the ending of the herringbone. So it's flipped, and now I'm coming through the 11 right next to it. So here we go. This is what's going to happen. First of all, I'm going to go ahead, let me grab another needle here. Grabbing it off my little BB bead thing here. Are my Yuki and Delica the same bead? They are the same brand, but not the same bead, okay? All right, so I have a needle put onto my tail thread, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get rid of this tail thread, okay? And so I'm just going to stitch it through, back and forth through several of my beads to get rid of the tail thread. I'm not going to put any kind of knots in this or anything like that. Oh, Lord. I know, man. I've been telling somebody else the other day, if I could clone myself, man, the things that I could get done, I could rule the world. Oh, Lord. Okay. So just stitching through to get rid of these. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut the thread here. This is my tail thread, not my working thread, okay? Tail thread, not the working thread. Okay, and so real quick, before I start the next step, I'm going to say 8/0 and the 11/0. There's my colors that I'm using. Okay, and then somebody wanted to see samples of what we're making. This is what we're making. Okay, so right now we're working on this centerpiece here. Yes, I would say make an even number of rows. Okay, so I am coming out here. I'm going to kind of hold it like together. You're going to feel like you need 12 hands to do this part. So I'm coming out of this 11 and I'm going to come straight across to my 11 here on the other side. So this is the starting end. This is the ending end. Okay. Alrighty. So now before I pull this tight, I'm going to take my needle and I'm just going to kind of stick it through here so that I can come on the other side of my piece. And now I'm just going to kind of flip it over here. So that way you can see what I'm going to do. Okay, so I was started here and I went through this one. Now I'm just going to kind of flip it over so I can see this other side. And I'm going to come through the 11 right next to the one that my thread's coming out of. Okay, so this is what I bought some that say 11/0 Mayuki Delica. Okay, so you're using a Delica bead. You're not using a Mayuki seed bead. You're using a Delica bead. It is a Mayuki, but you're using a Delica, not a Mayuki seed bead. So yours is probably not going to work out if you're using the Delica beads. Okay, so I've got it like this. Now I'm going to come straight across to come through the 11 straight across from where I'm coming out. So I still have it here. And you can see if you used a larger Rivoli, do you have counts for each size? I do not, because if you choose to use a larger or a smaller Rivoli, what's going to happen is it's going to affect the whole design. You're going to have to, your seed beads or like your super duos may not fit right. Everything may change up a little bit. So that is going to be part of the problem if you make it bigger or smaller. Okay, so right now, if I pull this back out, my 11s on the inside are now connected. So now, go through the 8/0 right above where your thread is exiting. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go straight through the next 8-0 and then kind of do that zip like we did with the same 11s. So I'm taking my needle. I'm going to come up through the last 8-0 here and then come through the 8-0 right across from it. Yep, pulled it tight, Kay. Yeah, and I mean, if you want to encase a Rivoli, you can absolutely encase a Rivoli this way. It's just you're really going to have to play with your counts. Okay, so now I'm going to flip it over. You can see if I pull it back, you can see where these two 8s are connected. So now I'm just going to take my needle and I'm going to come through the 8 right next to where my thread's coming out right here. And I'm going to go straight through that next 8 right across from it and pull this through. So that now my 11s are connected and my 8s are connected. Okay, so I'm just going to come back through a couple of these beads just to kind of get everything connected and way to go. Okay, now anywhere that I'm coming out, I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to come out of any of the 11s here in the middle circle. So I'm coming out of this 8, so I'm going to come right down through the next 11. Okay. So just like this. If you don't need to worry about this right here, I promise you everything's going to get kind of taken care of. Okay. Exit an 11 in the center of the ring. You will now be working the back of the pendant. Thread on 115, skip 111, and go through the next 11, and repeat around the ring. Step 30, step up through the first 15 added in the ring. So these 3 steps here are what we're going to do now. So I'm going to grab my 15 here. For now, I'm going to slide my 11s to the side. For my 15, I'm using a Gold Luster Dark Topaz. So I pick up 115, and we're basically going to be working like a peyote stitch. So I pick up a 15, I'm coming out of 11, I skip an 11, and I go through the next 11. And I pull the thread. And you see my little 11 sits right there on top. Pick up a 15. I'm going to skip an 11 and go through the next 11. Deborah Gibson, is there a way to tell a Miyuki seed bead, not a Delica, from a Toho seed bead? I have so many that are not labeled. Deborah, what I always tell people, a Toho seed bead is just a fraction bigger than a Miyuki seed bead, and a Miyuki seed bead has more very, very rounded beads. Let me see if I can grab. Okay, so like here's a tube. These are Miyuki seed beads, and you can see how they're a little bit more shallow and rounder, whereas these are a little bit more deeper, I guess is the word I should be saying there. Okay, so a little bit more narrow and a little bit wider. It's unless you're around them every day, it's a little bit harder to see exactly the difference between the two brands. I normally don't worry too much about brands until I'm doing something like an encasement. When you do an encasement, I found that for certain encasements, Miyukis just work better. Tohos, I love Tohos. They have a ton of colors that Miyuki does not have. But sometimes the Miyukis just work better. And I have a video. Okay, Katarina, I would not do it this way. The 315s are, what you're saying is, for the front of the piece. This is for the back of the piece. I do this because it's a little bit easier to make the front a little bit different than it is to go back and do this to the back. So it's a little bit better to go ahead and do this. I mean, if you want to, sure, you can do it, but I wouldn't suggest it. And remember, we want these 15s to stay kind of in the middle here, so keep them to the center. Yeah, Katarina, I was watching The Honest Guide on YouTube the other day, and he was talking about how you guys over in the Czech Republic, what your reopening is going to look like. It's going to be very interesting. Okay, so I'm fixing to add my last 15 here. I'm coming out of this 11. I'm going to skip this 11, and then I'm going to go through this 11 here. Now, once I get through this one, I then want to step up to come through this first bead here. So if you can do this both at one time. If you can't, then you can do it one at a time. So I'm going to go ahead, I'll put on that 15, skip an 11, and go through the next 11 here. Yeah, exactly, Katarina. Exactly. Okay, so now I'm going to do my step up. So I'm going to come right through the 15 right here where it is. Okay, so I just finished step 30. You can see where I did that step up, and this is what it should look like here on number 30. Okay, 31. Thread on 115 and go through the next 15. Repeat around, pulling taut. So when we do this step, we will be putting in 115 and going through the next 15 all the way around. So when we finish, it should look just like this. Lord, I had to get me some drink there. Whew. Okay, so I'm picking up a 15 here. And it's going to get a little bit harder to see because my 15s are kind of blending into the darkness there. But I'm picking up a 15 and then I'm going through the next 15. Hey, I keep you guys guessing about two number 33s. Oh, Lord. Y'all just have no idea. Years and years ago when I had this book, through the guy who printed it for me, I had the hardest time getting this book from him. I thought I ended up going to have to call a lawyer because he had my money for months and had been promising and promising and promising me, well, you're going to have your books next week or you're going to have your books in 2 weeks. And every time my books were supposed to be there, something would quote unquote happen. So I finally did have to call and threaten him that I was going to call a lawyer if I didn't have my books. And then, whoop, all of a sudden, like 2 days later, I had all of my books. Okay, so as you can see what it's starting to look like here. Thanks for all of you who joined me today for this bead along. I hope, really hope that you guys will enjoy the project, and that I hope that if you are in our Facebook group, you will definitely post your finished pieces for all of us to see. Okay, so I'm back here to the beginning. I know this because I have one little spot left here for a 15. So remember, we don't want to go to the 15 we added in this row. We have to go through the last 15, or that first 15, I should say, of the previous row. So I've got to go through that lower bead, or yeah, turn it this way. I got to go through that lower bead first. Okay. All right, so this is what I've got so far. Pull it kind of tight. So it's like number 31. So there is no 32. Stitch through the beads to exit an 11 on the front side of the pendant. Lay your Rivoli face up. You will be holding your Rivoli in place as you work the next 2 steps, okay? So first thing is we have to stitch through to exit an 11 on the front side. So what I do is I go through my very next 11 here after the 15, and it's going to be tight, okay? You're going to have a hard time pulling it through. And then I'm going to stick the needle through the center of the piece so that I can come out of the same 11 on the other side. Okay. Okay. There we go. All right. So now I'm going to pop the Rivoli in here, and I want to pull and kind of push it. You're going to almost have to force it in to your encasement. So it's going to look like this. Okay, Mary, what you may need to do is you may need to go ahead and refresh your page. Okay, so Bowser says, Kelly, I can confirm using 11 on my Yuki, it's too small for the 14 millimeters. Okay, so then what I would do, Kate, is I would go through and I would add a few more rows if you can, and make sure to do an even count of beads, okay? So this is what I should have so far. This is what the back's gonna look like, and this is what the front is going to look like. And again, I had to really push the Rivoli down into the encasement. (34) Thread on 3 15s, skip 1 11, and go through the next 11. Repeat around the ring. As you work the round around your peacoats will be wavy, and that's okay because it will be fixed on the next round. So you are going to be doing a little wavy look, but like I said, it's okay because what we're going to be doing is we're going to fix that in the next couple of steps. So I'm coming out of one of my 11s. I'm going to pick up 3 15s, so 1, 2, and 3. Coming out of an 11, I'm going to skip an 11, and I'm going to go through the next 11. So I'm doing a row of peyote stitch again, but this time it's going to be a little bit harder because you're going to have a little bit of a harder time to get through those 11s because everything's starting to get a little bit tight. Now I'm using a size 10 beading needle. You can drop to a 12, but if you drop to a 12, just beware that you are going to get this really messed up. Like you're probably going to end up having to switch over to another needle. So again, what we're doing this row, 3 15s, coming out of an 11, skip an 11, and go through the next 11. Sometimes you're the bead and sometimes you're the needle. Boy, is that right or what? Man, I need to do a t-shirt that says that. Oh, that would be a fun little t-shirt. Sometimes you're the bead, sometimes you're the needle. Okay, so they're going to stick up, and that's okay. We're just going to keep going with the 3 15s. Pick up one, skip one, go through one. Picking up 3, actually. Picking up 3, skipping an 11, and going through the next 11. Yeah, and I know the other day we were talking about that show, Wind Calls the Heart. I did get some, yes, Patricia, we got that one. Oh. Yeah, size 11 needles will work as well, but again, you're gonna, for this one, you might end up wreaking havoc on your poor old needles. So I did get to binge watch some more of Wind Calls the Heart over the weekend. I'm almost done with season 3, and I'm loving that show. Absolutely loving it. Man, the costumes in it amaze me. What brand of needles? Oh gosh. I don't have a favorite brand. If I'm honest with you, Lori, I do not have a favorite brand. I kind of switch in between tulip needles and in between pony needles, but I had people last week telling me to try the John James English beading needles. That's what I'm working with today. And I mean, it's a pretty good needle. So I don't know if I'll stick with them, but I'm giving them a whirl. But as far as a brand, I don't really have a favorite brand. Tulips are nice. I can use a tulip for a long time before I have to switch over to a new one. Oh, yes. When I finish with Wind Calls the Heart, I'm definitely going to watch Anne with an E. Oh, come on. Netflix is doing a good job with their things right now. Are pony needles strong? They are cheaper. Yeah, they are much cheaper. They are much cheaper. A size 10 needle I can use for a couple of projects. A size 12 needle, I basically only get one use out of a pony needle with a size 12 needle. Yep, Gloria, they are awesome. Let's see. Terry says, I watched all the seasons on Netflix. I finished 5 or 6. Terry, they just finished on Sunday night. They just finished season 7. And then the main character did a Facebook or a YouTube live last night, and she announced that they are going to do a season 8. But it'll be next year for season 8. Okay, so 3 15s. And I'm almost back to the start here. So 3 more of my 15s. Okay, skip. I'm here. I'm going to skip an 11, and I'm going to go through the last 11. This will be the first 11 that I actually started with. I'm going to try to hold these 15s down so you can see. Go through that one. Here we go. Get that pulled through. Well, get that out of my way. There we go. Okay, so you can see it looks like a hot mess right now. It's going to look better When do you know you need to change a needle? Joan, if you, like I was having a really hard time getting through those beads, I could have switched my needle down a size and that would have helped me get through those beads, but it would have also made the beads really, really, or my needle, it would have almost ruined the needle. Okay, so did this. When you're back to the beginning, step up by going through the first two 15s added. So that's going to be in our set of 3. We're going to go through the first 2. Okay. Then we are going to thread on 1 15 and go through the middle 15 of the next peacoat. Repeat around the ring and reinforce the ring 1 more. Okay. And then once we finish that, stitch through your beads to exit an 8 on the front of the pendant. And the front is where our Rivoli is facing upwards. So I'm going to step up by going through the first two 15s of my set of 3 that I added here. So the first 2, I'm going to pull this on through, pick up 1 15, and then I'm going to go to my next little set of 3 here, and I'm going to go through the middle bead of that set of 3. And I'm going to pull this. Okay. And I'm going to do this around the whole piece, picking up a 15 and going through the middle bead of the next set of 3 all the way around. Should your 15s be a certain brand? I feel like you could use a Miyuki or a Toho for these 15s, but for best results of this project, I think you're going to get the best absolute results using Toho beads because that's how I originally designed it. Because your 15s are basically holding your piece into place. And so I don't see why your Miyukis wouldn't work for this step. I just would not use a Delica 15. I would make sure to use a seed bead, rounded bead 15. And I think I was going to say this earlier in the video, but I got distracted by another question or something like that. I do have a Must Know Monday video a couple of years back, but it's all about seed beads and the difference in the seed beads and all of that kind of stuff. So if some of you guys who are just learning may want to check it out, and once I finish with the video, I will try to go ahead and post a link in the comment section to that as well. Oh, Sandy, don't worry. You weren't the only one who got a head start at it. So and that's okay. I think the biggest thing is just spending time with each other, being together when we can't be together. So, whoo, look at that. I am loving it. The Rivoli I'm using is Paradise Shine. It's a 14mm Rivoli. It was from my stash. I had some left over and I said, well, let me use it and see what we can do. Okay, now all I'm doing now is I'm just going through and I'm reinforcing the last row. So I'm going through just basically the 15s that I added and went through on this last row. This is what's going to help to hold our Rivoli into place. So this step is very important. So don't skimp on this step. I know sometimes we read it and we're like, oh, we don't really need to. But yeah, this is one of those where we really need to. And guys, just remember, you've got this. Take your time. If you have the book, you've got an extra resource, all that good stuff. Okay, I'm using a Chinese 14mm Rivoli, and it's working fine. They are thicker. They have a thicker edge than a Swarovski. Good deal. Yeah, Monica, yeah, the dryer sheet thing does work, but I don't know. There's lots of tips and tricks to working with Fireline. I just don't love it. But there's some projects you just have to use it with. Okay, so this is the front of my piece, and the directions now say to stitch through to exit an 8 on the front. So you do not want to come out of the 8 here along the back, because then we're not going to be able to see anything worth a... So we want to do it here in the front, okay? I have 21 rows inside and 20 outside. Okay, so Sharon, what that means is you did an extra row of 11s. So basically you did another half row before you connected them. Okay, so that is, you just need to take yours out and take that row of 11s back out. Okay, so I've got to stitch through my beads to come out of an 8 here on the front. Okay, so somebody says, what is the size of the finished piece? I will show you in just a few minutes. Oh, do I not know that Outlander is amazing? Oh, yes, I loved. Now, I will say, though, I had to stop watching Outlander for a little while because I was reading the books, and I finally got to about the 4th book, and I was like, OMG, what more can these people stand and take and do? Like, I just got tired of it for a little while, and I had to stop. Stop reading it. Okay, Judy. Judy Spartan says, I'm still trying to squeeze my Rivoli in. So, Judy, did you use Toho 11s and 8s? Okay, so I'm coming out of my 8 on the front. Now we're going to have fun. So 37, stitch to wear your beads, exit an 8-0 on the front side of the pendant. Okay, so then Judy, double check your rows. Double check your rows. Make sure you have 26 rows, because that may be it. Maybe you haven't done the 26 rows. Otherwise, maybe you've just stitched it way too tight. It should be a little bit domed when you finish it. We'll talk about that more here in just a minute. So it says thread on 111, 1 super duo, and 111. Skip an 8 and go through the next 8. Repeat around the ring. Now, I will tell you this. When you get ready to add your super duos, make sure to check both your holes. Okay, so I'm going to be using Pastel Emerald today for mine. So it says thread on an 11. A super duo. Now, when I do my super duo, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stick my needle through both holes to make sure that both holes have holes in them. There is nothing worse than getting all the way around and having a hole plugged, okay? So make sure you have both holes open. So I've got an 11, a super duo, and an 11. Skip an 8 and go through the next 8. So I'm coming out here. I'm going to skip an 8 and I'm going to come through the next 8. Oh, Betty Warren, I finished the first J.D. Robb book. Yes, I have. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I am almost, I think I have 40 minutes left on the second one. Y'all have me addicted to those. Shame on y'all. Oh, they're really, really good. So I'm just going to do this all the way around. An 11, a duo, and an 11. Skip an 8 and go through the next 8. I just learned the hard way and had to start over twice. I had one size in my Yuki and one in Toho. Okay. Betty says, I have them all. Rourke for the win. Kathy, I tell you what, I can't believe Kathy didn't tell me about these books. Kathy's my little buddy, I guess I could say. I gotta ask, how can you have a stash when you have a bead store? Honestly, I'm just like you guys. When I go on vacation, I love to hit bead stores and support local bead stores. So I have quite a little stash of my own up here in my little office section, along with, you know, the beads downstairs. But beads downstairs are for sale, so can't really count them as my stash. I know, Kathy. We haven't chatted about books in a while. We need to again. Oh, I am loving this color with all these. I keep missing you when you come to the beach. Yep. Well, Shirley, if we can actually get to the beach in June, I will be coming in June. But I guess we're going to have to kind of wait and see how all of this goes with the pandemic, which we are not going to talk about. It's sunshine and roses here today. Oh, hello to everyone just jumping in. We are working on the Herringbone Burst Pendant that is in my step-by-step herringbone book. If you've missed the beginning, it's completely okay. As soon as this video is done, this will be uploaded to YouTube, and you can go back and watch it and see my colors and see all the other fun stuff. To me, the hardest part of this pendant is the center. It's the herringbone. And if you've never done it before, it can be tricky. But just keep on. And you guys need to be just like I was with my macarons this weekend. My first batch came out a total flop, and I said, I am not going to let this defeat me. So I got up the next day, I did it again, and the next batch turned out wonderfully. So don't let anything defeat you. You guys have got this. And for some reason, let's see. Karen says she did 2 pendants yesterday. I love it. Hello from the UK. But I'm kind of stuck right now on like these greens and these mustard colors. And every time I try to go to a different color scheme, I just gravitate towards the same colors. So evidently these are just the colors that make me happy during this time. So I'm going to roll with it. Completely going to roll with it. Okay, I got one more little super duo to add right here. So I skip the 8 and go through the next 8. So that's going to be the one I started with. Good grief. Ugh, me and this fire line today. What in the world? A hot mess express right here. Oh my goodness. Give me just a second. Okay, there we go. Okay, so once I've gone around, this is what I've got so far. Okay, I must have not connected that right there. I'll do that in a minute. Matubos, yes, they are. Okay, so 39 says, step up by going through the first 11 and super duo added. You will be going through the same duo hole. This is step 39. 40, thread on 115, 1 super duo, and 115. Go through the next super duo. You will be going through the same holes you have already been through. So we're not going through the top open holes yet. We're going through the lower holes that we've already done. So I'm going to step up by going through the 11 and the super duo. Okay, So you'll see there is where I'm coming out. Now I'm going to pick up a 15, a super duo, and again, check both the holes there. Make sure both your holes are good to go. And then a 15, and I'm going to go through the next super duo, and I'm going through the hole I've already went through. Deborah, no, it is not wrong. Not wrong whatsoever. I think people actually have really enjoyed seeing me make the mistakes because it makes everybody feel a little bit better about their beading skills. See, when these are recorded, when I did the recorded versions, you know, if I made a mistake like this, Sammy could kind of cut that out, but not in live videos. Which I'm kind of enjoying these live videos because it's nice to be able to go back and chat with each other. Nicole, I will get back. I will get back to your answer. I will answer that question. Somebody remind me about Nicole's question at the end of this video. I will go back and I will answer that. Yes, let's see. Who just asked? Becky Clay. Yes, I will be happy to pick out colors for you for the necklace part of it if you want to do that necklace. If you want to call me after the live is over today, I will take care of that for you. Oh, Lord, I'm loving some of the comments today. They're awesome. So you can see how it's looking now. I've got half of these added with the 15, 11, or the duo and the 15. So you can see kind of how this is going. And guys, we don't have too much more and we'll have this piece finished. The hardest part is the centerpiece. To me, this is the fun part. Okay. So I am back around. I have one more 15 duo and 15 to add. And so I'm going to add it right here. And pull it. Oh, Lord, y'all, I might have to go a little bit quicker. My phone just told me it only had 20% remaining. So we're going to see what we can get done here. So this is what we've got so far. I might see if I can get it plugged up to my computer. Step up by going through the first 15 and super duo added in this round. So I'm going to go through the very next 15 and super duo. Okay, now jump to the outside hole of the same super duo you are exiting by going through the top hole in the opposite direction. So what that means is right now I'm coming out of this super duo and I'm coming out of the bottom hole. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go through the top hole of that same bead. Thread on one duo and go through the next duo. Repeat around the ring. And again, guys, make sure you check the holes on these as you add them. And so now we're working in the opposite direction. Make sure you check those holes. I'm telling you, there is nothing worse to get to the end of a project or on this next round when you think you're coming to the last round and then whoops, you got bead holes plugged. Okay, so you can see here I'm building a whole nother layer to this piece. Guys, I placed a really big Toho order last week. They finally had 8s and an 11s that they were sold out, that they've been sold out of for months. Finally got those back in stock. So hopefully we'll be getting others. Hopefully we'll be getting plenty of restocks in. Yes, please make a suggestion. Yep, bead reamers can, sometimes you can do the holes with the bead reamer. Also, another thing to unplug the hole, I guess, is I use my tulip awl. What happens when you have too many beads with holes in it? Wait a minute. Too many beads with holes missing. Oh, Patricia, I would just chunk them to the side and not worry. Chunk those to the sides, because if you don't, when you go back to do your next row, you are just going to be saying some very unnice words. So, oh. And honestly, it depends on the finish of your Super Duo. Some Super Duos have no problems whatsoever as far as their holes being plugged. You might get, say, 2 or 3 beads in a batch of them that have holes plugged. I also have found, though, that specially coated Super Duos tend to actually have more plugged holes. Okay. Did anybody else's screen go black? I don't think so. Anita, you may just want to refresh your screen. Okay, guys, I'm getting back around. I'm loving my color scheme here so far. Loving, loving, loving it. Okay, so I am here. I need to add my last bead. Now remember, don't go up here. We still have to finish the row. So you have to go through the last bead on this row, which is going to be this one here. My mama's watching. Hey, Mama. Okay. Once you've gone all the way around, step up by going through the first Super Duo added in this round and then through the top hole of the same duo. Thread on 1 3mm and go through the next Super Duo and repeat around the ring. So let's go ahead and do that. So we got to do the step up. So I'm coming out of this one here. I'm going to come into the bottom hole of the very next Super Duo. Do you have any designs with the twin beads? I don't think so. Owens. If I do, they're going to be several years old because twins come out quite a few years ago. So I am coming out this direction of this Super Duo. And now I'm going to step up by going this way through that same Super Duo. So now I'm going to be working in the other direction. So I'm going to be using a Fern Green Double AB Bicone here. Wanted something to try to pull the blue and the green. So we pick up our Bicone and go through the next Super Duo. Now, here's what I suggest. Again, if you don't have any 3mm Bicones, use a size 8 seed bead. Don't use a 3mm fire polish, or it's going to cause your piece to be really, this outer part here, to be really wavy. Okay. Another suggestion I have is as you thread these Bicones on, or your size 8 seed beads, if you want them to dome a little bit, instead of being completely flat, like this gold one here is completely flat. If you want it completely flat, don't pull the thread tight. Okay, just kind of pull the thread to pop it through. I want to give mine a little bit of a dome, so I'm going to pull this thread tight as I work, so that way it will dome my piece a little bit. Okay, so just remember that. Oh, I am loving this. You guys, I don't know how many of you have actually went to like your Walmart or your Target, but the other day I had to go into Walmart to purchase something, and I happened to pass by the appliance section, and you can tell that everybody is at home eating and cooking right now, because there were like no crock pots, no air fryers. So many of their appliances were completely gone. You guys, I'm loving this. Loving, loving, loving my colors. And I wouldn't be too concerned with, OMG, my piece is flat. OMG, my piece is curved. Don't be concerned about that, guys. Because it's going to look good whether your piece is flat or it has that dome shape. Okay, so just remember that. I think too, sometimes it has to do with your super duos. The finish on super duos make them a little bit bigger and some a little bit smaller. So just remember that as well. Yes, Angelina, yes, I need to do a video on how to get out knots. Oh. Can you get the same materials that I'm using? You sure can. I've got them on my website, offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. Or if you want to give me a call here at the store after we finish the live, I will be happy to try and take care of you and get them together for you. Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. All right, let me pour out just a couple more crystals here. Twins and super duos are not the same size. What if the Rivoli is loose in the center? How can we tighten it up? If your Rivoli is loose, then what I would suggest is to go back to the center and go through the 11s again and pull, almost like you're reinforcing the 11s. And you could also possibly do another row of 15s here in the middle to kind of pull everything together. Okay. So, boom, look at that. Here's my completed piece. So, oh goodness. So now I'm not going to add the bottom because the person I'm going to give this to will not like the drop on it. But I do want to tell you how to do that. So to add the teardrop, it says exit any 3mm, thread on 2 15s, 2 11s, 1 3mm, 3 11s, a teardrop, and 3 15s. So I'm threading on these beads here and thread on the skinny end first, okay? 47, skip the 3 15s and go back up through the teardrop and the 11. So see, I'm skipping the 15s, go through the teardrop and the 11 right after it here. 48 says thread on 2 11s and 1 3mm, 2 11s and 2 15s. Skip 2 3mm on the base and go through the next 3mm. So I'm skipping 2 and going through the next one. So that way it gives me my teardrop here. and it says stitch through the outside beads to exit the 11th 3mm from where your thread exited. So from where my thread exited here, I would count over 11 so that we could be in the center. And basically what we need to do then is we're going to add our bail. So to add the bail, I need an 8. Let me grab an 8 here. Uh-oh, Sharon. Hope you get to feeling better, sweetie. I know that is not fun. Okay, so what I'm going to do is from where I'm coming out, I'm picking up an 8. I'm skipping a duo, and I'm going to go through the next 3. No, I'm coming out of a 3mm. I'm picking up an 8, skipping the duo, and going through the next 3mm. Now, I'm going to leave, and actually, I think I'm going to do a little bit different from what my pattern says. You know, one of those do as I say, not as I do type things. If you want to do it this way, you can totally do it this way. I'm going to do it a little bit different. Do you need to reinforce the drop? You can. You absolutely can if you want to. You don't have to, but I'll show you what I'm going to do too. So I'm actually going to do an 11, an 8, and an 11 for this one. I'm going to skip my duo, and I'm going to go through the next 3mm. Now, I'm going to go ahead when I go through this 3mm, I'm going to go through, and instead of worrying about, you know, trying to come back up, I'm going to go around this whole outer edge here to reinforce. So if you do this part, who asked that a minute ago? Deborah. So if you come up to the top, add your point. When you come back down, Deborah, you can reinforce the drop there if you want to. There's not really a need to, but if you want to, have at it. Joyce, the good thing about my patterns is that they are instant download patterns, so you wouldn't have to pay any shipping, sweet pea. That is the awesome thing. Okay, so this is what I got. So I'm getting close to where my teardrop would be. So if you have a teardrop there, you can go ahead and reinforce that. Kanita, hello. Thank you for jumping on. Thank you, Kanita. When we actually finish this video, this will be uploaded to YouTube, so you can go back because I showed the colors a couple of times that I'm using in the video. Okay, and at this point, my piece is fairly stiff. So if it's not stiff at this point, you've just used too loose of a tension, and you may need to go back and reinforce. Reinforcing never hurts. What brand of 3mm? For this specific one, I'm using a Swarovski, but for you know, for purposes, you can use Thunder Polish, you can use Preciosa. Really, any brand of 3mm is going to work for you. And again, the book that I am working from, we are completely sold out of the print copy. We will not be getting any more of the print copies in, but I promise you, we do have a, hopefully an instant download ebook on the way for you. And we also have this specific pattern for sale on my website, offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. There's a direct link in the comment section and in the chat section at the very, very top. Okay, so I've come all the way around. I've stepped up by going through the 11 and the 8 here at the top. Remember, if you go straight by the pattern, you'll only have an 8 there. So now we thread on 8 11s, 1 8, and 8 11s. Go back through the same 8 0 your thread is exiting to make a circle. So honestly, Susan, I have no idea. I can check after the video. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. An 11, an 8, and 11. Okay, so now my thread is coming out this direction. So I'm going to come back through that same bead to make a circle. So it's a pretty good sized circle, but I don't know what I'm going to put it on yet. This circle is made specifically so that if you decide to do the video or the project here on page 40, it is made to go with this specific necklace, okay? So it's made to go with the necklace that is on it there. So, next step here. Now it says thread on 8 11s and go through the 8 0 at the top of your piece. Oh, shoot. I'm going to have to pull that back out. I was supposed to thread on 8. I think I threaded on 11. But we're going to thread on 8 and go through the one at the top and then thread on 8 and go through the 8 at the bottom and reinforce the spell. So let me do this again real quick. Okay, you guys are going to have to give me 1 second. I'm going to have to see really quick if I can plug my phone up to my computer while we're talking. It's popping up and tell me that my phone is dying on me. And I would hate to get us almost here to the end and my phone die. So just bear with me for just a minute here, guys. See what I can get done for us. Oh. Come on. Okay. Hopefully, we'll get some battery going now. And we'll be good to go. Okay. So I'm going to have to take this off. I threaded on 11 11s, I think. Okay, you guys, I'm so hoping that this thing is charging now. I can't see because it's got all this on the screen here. Oh gosh, you know, I don't know if Grayson will be with us any this week. It's gonna honestly just depend on if he comes any day this week. I don't know if he'll actually come to the shop any day this week, so I guess we'll see. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Jason, I will have to list those in our Facebook group. Or I will list them in the comment section here. Okay, so I have the loop. Now I'm going to thread on 8 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, my thread is here at the bottom. I'm going to come up here at the top, and I'm going to go through the 8 here at the top. So right now, it's going to look like a little hot mess. It's okay. Trust this computer. Yes, I trust this computer. Uh-oh, hang on, guys. There we go. Okay, and then 8 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 2, 4, 6, and 8. Okay, so now I'm going to come through the 8 here at the bottom. so that now the bell is made. So to show you, this is how your bell works basically. You would put something in it just like this. And again, this bell was made specifically to go with the necklace that is in the book. So now all that you would do is you would need to go through and reinforce this, okay? Judy says, will you wrap and label all these gifts or do like me and stick them someplace and forget what you did with them and where they are? Honestly, Judy, I take, oh Lord, people think I'm crazy for this. I think I'm very well organized. I put all of my Christmas gifts in the exact same spot. And I have an app on my phone for Christmas gifts so that I can put in ideas for people. And then it's got a place like where you can mark if you've purchased the gift, if you've wrapped the gift, and all that kind of stuff. So I also use an app as well. So all I'm doing, my mama says, oh, mama, I will remind you. Oh, I bet you will. I bet my mama's hoping this one's coming to her house for Mother's Day. So all I'm doing is I'm just going through now and I'm reinforcing these 2 loops of beads that I've made. And then once you get that done, once they're reinforced and you're happy with the way the bell looks and the reinforcement of it, then you can tie it off, okay? So to tie it off, I'm just going to stitch down through the beads. And if you want to reinforce again, you can do that. What is that app? I think if you just go in online into like your app store, whether it's a Google Play or Apple or whatever, I think if you go in and you just put in like Christmas app or Christmas present app, lots of them will come up. I actually don't do any of the ones that you have to pay for. I just use a free app. So, and I normally start shopping, like if I'm going to shop, I shop in June, start around June or July so that I can be done by Thanksgiving. And normally Thanksgiving weekend, I put up my tree and all my presents go under the tree that weekend. So that way I can enjoy the whole season. Honey, I have got some awesome pin wraps the last couple of days. Let me just tell you. Okay, so, Amy, no, I have not done a video on that. Someone, we won't name any names, set up a little thing for me to where people surprised me for my birthday and sent some pins to me with pin covers on them. I got bunches and bunches, and I love them all, and they will all get great use. Okay, guys, look at that. Look at that. So now I'm going to go ahead, trim that thread, and then it will be ready to go on a necklace to give to somebody. Okay, so I'll show you guys really quick. People are asking me about my pin covers. Okay, these are all gifted to me. These are not my patterns. Okay, these were all gifted to me. So then here's another one. And here is this one. This one with the fun smiley faces. Then I got one with my initial on it. Here is another fun one on a Sharpie, which I love. And this fun one here. Yeah, so I will know if anybody steals my ink pens here at the store over the next few months. I will absolutely know if anybody steals my pens. we go. So yeah, got all of those fun ones in the mail this week. Yay! Okay, so I'm going to flip this screen around really quick. Okay, guys, here we go. Okay. Do you have a YouTube tutorial on the necklace? We're going to talk about that. Okay, so let me go back to a couple of questions that were asked. So somebody asked what the difference was between the bracelet on page 5 in the book. I think that's the one you're asking about. And the necklace on page 40. Okay, so basically the difference is, number one, the bangle uses a thread called Nozu Sunoco thread. The Nozu Sunoco thread is a thread, but it has a little bit of stretch to it, so that when you stitch with it, it allows you to make a bangle the same size as your wrist, so you don't have to make it huge to go over the biggest part of your wrist. So that's the first thing. This is made with Nozu. I normally don't use Nozu for anything except for bangle bracelets, okay? The second thing is on this one, I think you are going down. Yeah, this one is like a basic herringbone. You are picking up 2 beads, picking up 2, going down through 1, just exactly like what I did today in the base circle. With the one on page 40 for the necklace, you are actually going up through 3 and down through 3. So it's gonna make your twist really, really twisted. I actually do have a video for this. I'll have to go back and find it. I did it as a collaboration video with Heather from Beach Beads probably about a year ago. So I think I actually do already have a video. If I find it here in the next couple of minutes, I will actually put it on as a comment here, not in the chat section, but a comment on the video. So you can come back on the replay video and find that actual thing. Okay, and somebody has asked about my lipstick today. I am wearing Stila today, and it is called Bacca, B-A-C-C-A, Bacca, but it is an all-day liquid lipstick, so that is what I have on today. Okay, were there any other questions that I did not get answered? I know a couple of people asked about my bracelet. The bracelet can be found, it's called the Four Corners bracelet. It's by Deborah Birdie of AroundTheBeadingTable.com. My bead mat was a bead on it board from Potomac Beads. The earrings I have in today are a gift for my birthday from Brenda Ashley. They are bead crochet. And so I think that might be it. Yes, I made the necklace to go with this pendant, but you can put anything on the pendant. It doesn't have to be that necklace. It can be whatever you want. Remember, you'll just need to adjust the loop at the top of your piece to be either smaller or bigger, depending on what you're gonna put it on. I cannot show you how to get the knot out of thread right now because we're almost at that 2-hour mark. That will be something for another day. Did you show how to do the teardrop? No, but I showed the directions on how to add the teardrop to the bottom of it. So yes, duos versus twins, always duos for me. I don't ever use twins. So I hope you guys had a wonderful time, and I hope you learned something new. Come back tomorrow where I'm going to teach you how to make this ring right here. It uses 3 colors of a size 11 Delica bead. Okay, finished size. Okay. Finished size. So about 1.5 inches wide, and from loop to bottom, 2 inches. So there you go. There is the finished size of the piece. So thank you guys so much. I hope you can join me tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time, where we are going to, again, make this ring 3 colors of a size 11 Delica. So thank you guys so much. We'll talk to you later. Bye.